All right, people, welcome back for another brand new episode of the motherfucking Tip Touch podcast. And of course, as always, I got my boy Brett here in the motherfucking virtual studio. I'm Eduardo, but I don't need to say that. I mean, you should know by now. But today we have a very special guest here from
Atlanta.
Damn, ATL. Okay. We got our good friend Kyndra up here at the Tip Touch podcast virtual studio. What's up, Kyndra?
Hey man, out here still, hoeing and not loving these hoes too, doing everything.
Oh hell yeah, hoeing.
Can I give y'all a shout out real quick? Shout out to y'all for not thinking I was a bot or spam and just deleting my message. When I wrote to y'all, thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all because people don't be giving me a chance, man. They be like, to hell with you. You ain't no real person, or you funny, or you look better than me, so I'm not gonna bring you on. Whatever being petty.
So I'll admit though, I'll admit this to just people that have been trying to reach us out. It's not that we ignore anybody, but even like I was talking to my co-host here that there was some emails out there of other people that wanted to get on as well, but I've been so horrible at checking our business email for the Tip Touch. So we actually, I notified them, hey man, we should definitely be on it, and we've been slacking on that. So we definitely take full fault of that. It's our fault. But when we came across your message, I was like, dude, we should definitely try to see if we can have her on. And that's when my boy reached out to you, and I thought, like, fuck it, let's network, let's do this, So that's why we're here.
Yeah. So
Kyndra, and again, I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Kyndra Crump. And you have the podcast called the Kyndra Crump Show.
That's correct.
And what platforms are you on?
I'm on everything except Pandora, but Spotify, Breaker, Google, Apple Podcasts. Just type in the Kyndra Crump Show and it's gonna come up. So
yeah. Right on. Well, welcome to the Tip Touch. We're this is Suge Knight meets Joe Dirt right in the flesh right here. And, I just want to make you as comfortable as we could make it.
Hey, do you got some snow bunnies for me or anybody to send over my way? Make me really comfortable.
Always.
I bet we can find something. Yeah,
I appreciate it. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, ATL. So all I know during this whole COVID mess, it's never shut down. That means like the strip clubs were like in full effect too. I'm assuming too, right?
Well, let me tell you a quick little fun story about the strip clubs here in Atlanta.
Yes.
I used to almost audition at one of them, right? Until I realized I got two left feet. All right, I was going to be the first stripper in history bringing home pocket change. You would have thought I was working for a nonprofit organization, first off. But one day, let me tell you how crazy, and I don't know if there is a lot of simps out there in the world or what, but let me tell you the craziest part about the strip clubs here in Atlanta. When the pandemic first happened, they shut everything down, of course. They said that you could, this is actually a true story, and I think this is at Magic City, where you could pay women for a virtual dance. Like you had to pay to get in and then throw money at the screen, and people actually paid. And I'm like, wow.
We're in a new world.
Damn.
But here's my question. You guys are men, all right? You guys are men. You don't have, maybe just a half an inch or a percentage of estrogen in your body. But you guys are men. What is up with these men who randomly send their dick pics to me without me asking? What's up with men who are willing to just ask for feet pictures when you can go online and, is it because they want to still match a face with the feet? Why do men do that? Because I know a lot of men will do that.
I'll let you go first, Brett, if you want to go first, or I can go straight into I can nosedive into this.
Well, okay. So my wife, it's funny that you talk about this because my wife has a friend who has an OnlyFans account and sells her pictures of her feet for money. That's her little side hustle. But I have to be honest, I've never I've never ever wanted to. Feet has not been a thing that I've really been into, like a topic of mine. That's not been something where I'm like, and then you say, okay, now you got to pay for feet. Like if I'm paying to view, I'm not going to the feet,
Yeah.
That's on me.
Yeah, and I can say like I've been taking notice too that there's like there is a huge foot fetish like amongst men, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I'm one of them. Not like I have a fetish, but like it like matters. It matters. Like it has to they have to be well taken care of. Like they have to be like nicely painted. And obviously, like as long as you take care of them, cool. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna flaunt them, make sure they look right. That's what I'm saying. I told my wife, and I love you, baby, but I told my wife, honestly, straight up, you have really pretty feet. And I think that's one of the things that really got me to, like I was really
Is
attracted
this
to you at that
something
point.
white people are a part of? Because I feel like this is something that white people are getting excluded from.
No, I mean, just for me, like that's just my own thing. Like I always just knew like if a girl's flaunting her feet, they gotta look right. And with like right now, like the in thing right now, I feel like the trend of a color, I guess you could say, is like the white nail polish. That's like that makes them pop out more. So it's like almost like you got to know what color sets like really well with the toes. You see, and it's crazy to me that I put so much thought into that. It's weird, right? Like, damn, he has a fucking foot fetish. I don't. I'm just saying, like,
people are getting rich.
I know.
I ain't had white toes in a while. Yeah. Actually, I try to switch it up because I feel like there's, I'm my skin complexion. I'm pretty much good with whatever, so I've had black toenails and somebody paid for that, But I just always wonder, like, oh, do you do services? I'm like, if I know you extremely well, I'm at the point. Let me tell you, can I be real with y'all? Because we family. Can I be real with y'all?
Let's go.
Okay. Go. I'm at the point now, you guys, other people might call it prostitution, but I'm like, I'm getting what's owed to me. Do you know how many people I allowed to lick this cat and ass for free? Okay. You know how many people have given me hickeys and sucked my toes for free? Yeah. Okay. I'm making people pay for it now. Okay. Yeah. Some way, shape, or form. Okay. Some way, either you pay for my phone bill or you make sure my belly's full, something that you're doing to make me say, you know what? I can still fuck with him.
Wow.
Isn't there a saying called to take it? You pay to play? Am I wrong?
Yes.
With that?
No, I think that's falls in the same category, but I kept thinking to myself because I used to think, they always say never say never, and I used to look down on anybody who was out there doing, like, I guess, certain things. But here's the thing. Now, again, because you have a lot of people who don't understand, so I gotta, interpret this for the slow ones in the back, the ones who aren't the highest grade of weed in the dispensary. Okay. Guys, I'm not saying that if you randomly come up to me in the streets and I don't know your first and last name, no, I'm not gonna allow you to, lick your put your mouth. But no, I have to get to know you. Make sure you're not crazy, okay? Make sure you don't have any warrants out for your arrest, because last thing I want is us to be in the movie theaters and then they like call your government name and I'm like, oh shit, I thought his name was Pussy. So I don't want that, okay? I'm like, who the hell is Linwood? I don't want that at all and stuff like that. So that's my entire thing. Like for me personally, I try to get to really, and I think honestly, everybody should try to get to know people before doing any sexual act with them. But I guess when you're horny, you don't really care, but that's still not good, because you wake up the next day, you got you peeing out fire because you didn't been burned.
And that's crazy because like I don't know if you know this guy, but he talks about just kind of like the current the dating scene right now, especially like with the millennials and all that. I don't know if you've heard of. I don't know if you've heard of the great Kevin Samuels.
I knew you were gonna say his name. But
it's so funny though that I'm not to go too deep into it, because it could be like a whole topic, of course. But like the stuff that he talks about, just like modern dating, is so much like. It already boils down to you having an app where you can swipe left, swipe right, whatever, and that's it. Like whatever happened to the casual, you run into somebody at like Starbucks or something, you know what I'm saying? And you just start, that's where you actually can tell like if a guy has game to where how he approaches somebody, and then be like, damn, okay, I should maybe go for that, or maybe I should talk to him, or maybe I should get my phone number. It's all about the approach, right? So it takes more like where you say you put more work into it, like you get more of the outcome, like a better outcome. Now it's more like on the app, swipe left, swipe right, and then you're a match. That's it. It's like there's really no effort being put into it anymore. See what I'm saying? Am I making any sense?
It's not. You know what? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I know you guys are a lot older than me. I have an old, so my parents had me close to 50. Okay, so it makes sense. All right. But for me personally, like I love phone calls. I love, if you notice when we were talking through the DMs, I think I send like a lot of audio messages. Like I love to, because I don't have time to decipher no live or no text or anything else like that. So for me personally, I like to meet people organically. Like, at least I know in person you actually don't have body odor. At least I know in person you're really this height. But what's so crazy? I saw this thing on the Shade Room where men are getting some type of thing that they can put in their shoes to make them taller, so I guess I'll be fooled until, we're laying down in bed. I'm like, bro, like, I just got up and you're like 4'5". That's terrible.
Yeah, you were 6 foot when I first met you, but you're 5'4" right now.
You went down to 5'5" all of a sudden.
Terrible.
That's one thing I've noticed though with men in general is over the past 10 years, I've noticed men following women in a lot of ways. And I'm talking about they're shaving now. Men didn't used to shave, didn't used to man groom.
Okay.
They used to just go free willy-nilly. But women started speaking up and saying, "Hey, if I'm cleaning up, you're going to clean up as well." I'm seeing men more pedicures, manicures being done by men. I'm seeing a lot of more coordination with the clothes and with the styles and all that. I think that when it comes to fashion, when it comes to any type of appearance, men or women are leading the charge, and men we're behind, but we're following. That's where you lead us every time. So you just give it 10 more years, you're going to start seeing men showing off their feet, and that's real. Watch that.
I had this one guy say, well, "I got nice feet. Would you like to pay for them?" I'm like, "Nigga, please, like, get the hell."
Okay.
I don't have time for that, man.
What do you think I am?
You were talking. You're from Atlanta, and so OutKast was one of the groups that I listened to.
That's before your time. What you know about them? That's before your time.
No, it's not. I'm 38, and so Aquemini came out. That was their five mic in the source record when I was in high school, and they had a song on there called Synthesizer, and I have named the. Do you know what I'm talking about? Synthesizer. Do you know that song?
I'm gonna keep it real with you. Okay, so my mom's an evangelist. All right. So there was a lot of stuff that we could not listen to, could not watch. So I still, to this day, have not listened to any of OutKast's albums or Jay-Z's.
Wow.
Okay. I want you to listen to Synthesizer because there's a lyric in there. I wanted to, because I've brought it up on the podcast before, but these guys were ahead of their time on so many levels. And there's this one part in the song where it says, we were talking about, you're talking about paying, on the computer, right? And and so there's a part that says she says she'd laptop says she'd lap dance on your laptop while your laptop's in your lap. Digital good time, and that was in 1998.
I like that.
1998.
I like that. That's
yeah
dope.
I mean, cyber sexy Wendy, web walking in the nude. Digital good time. So I'm saying OutKast, they had that going on way back in the day. They knew there would be a day where we would be giving you cryptocurrency to shake what you're working with.
Isn't that a wild to go to the strip club and all of a sudden you're paying crypto? Like, hold on, let me transfer this for you real quick, and then you can start.
We're not at crypto yet. We're still at the Venmo, PayPal,
Bitcoin.
Well, Bitcoin is crypto, but and I guess some are accepting Bitcoin now, huh?
Really?
They are. I think so.
Yeah, it's up to people. I think that right now you're starting to see it's starting to become a little bit more mainstream, but it's just crazy living in the future. Here we are.
2021 is wild. I know. Man. It's wild. I mean, how do you okay, so let's just go into this first. So you're a comedian, right? As what your title is?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a comedian.
So how did you get into that?
So I had to go through like a series of unfortunate events, try to figure out exactly what is it that I really wanted to be in life. Because, I of course, as every child, you say, okay, I want to be this, I want to be that. I didn't really think I was funny. People have always told me, Kyndra, you're freaking hilarious. Like, I never tried, stuff like that. So, a series of unfortunate events. The first thing I said was I wanted to be, like I said, worker at Magic City, and I already explained that. But I wanted to also be a teacher. I thought being a teacher was going to be cool until I realized you can't mollywop kids like you used to back in the day. Okay. It'd be nice to put my hands on a child, but I would have been fired a day. Okay.
Just straight
some of these kids need it, man. Some of these kids need it.
Yeah.
Fucking
Just
punks.
saying, you know, I mean, they like just out of control. Have y'all almost squared up with a child before who wasn't yours?
Well, I'll say this. There's been a couple times where, like, you know, like you can see them kind of acting out of place, like at a public place where they're they say something rude or they don't do the basics where, like, even holding a door for an elderly person, for me, it's like, it's almost common sense. You hold the door open, you know, like, oh, excuse me, like, or if someone, like an older person, is trying to like lift something that's, you know, on their shopping cart into the car. Oh, can I help you with that? It's just like, there's like literally a difference to now where a lot of younger kids, they don't have, I feel like, any manners or any like just being polite or anything like that. And there's
because their parents want to be their friends.
Dude, it's fucking wild to me. Like, damn. But have I ever really wanted to square up with somebody? I don't think I'm up to that point, but I swear, like, it's gonna be one of those days where it's just gonna happen one day, and I'm gonna lose it.
I was,
and then you have to bail me out, Brett. So
I was the kid that got squared up on. I was I was 17 and I was driving home, and I, you know, guy followed me home, didn't like how I was driving, and threw some fists in my face. You know, like a 40-year-old dude.
Did you get knocked out? Did he knock you out?
But
wait, he followed you to your house?
He followed me to my trailer, to be specific. And yes, I was in Montana. And you know, it's more accepted back there to do that kind of thing.
So wait, so here's my question. Like, did you not yell for help so somebody could have came and backed you up? Like, the fact that he made it all the way to your house, you didn't get a knife. How much help am I asking for?
How much help am I asking for?
You didn't get a knife in the house and just start try to run and stab.
No. You know, what happened was, you know, I was a scrapper back in the day, but at the same time, I'd never fought someone twice my age, though, and he wasn't. Okay, no, this gets weird. It gets weird because you know, he wasn't hitting hard. Like, you know, my mom put me in foster care. She hit me probably twice as hard as this guy was hitting me. But when I went to school, I went to school that following Monday, and the kid Sean comes up to me and he says, "Hey, heard my dad followed you home."
Not his dad.
Sean, that happened. Yes, your dad followed me home, and yeah, he threw some fists in my face. Yeah, he cornered me in my car and everything.
So after that, did you learn to drive a lot better, or you still drive how you feel like
I started carrying a gun.
Oh. That's funny. That to me is funny.
Yeah.
Like, what about you, Eduardo? Have you ever had somebody try to follow you home because you cut them off or flipped them off in traffic?
So there was one time where I was coming home from getting some food because I'm fat. I went to get some food and I was pulling into my driveway, and I didn't do anything like to even antagonize this person, but like I pulled to the side and told him to go because I was gonna pull into my driveway, and I was like giving him hand signals like go around and go about your business so I could pull into my driveway. This person parked right behind my car, got out of the car himself, and walked over to like my driver's side window. Well, first of all, the first instinct, does he have a gun? Am I gonna get shot? Like a whole whirlwind of things just started running through my mind. And I was like, dude, if I go out like this, for me coming home, I think I went to get Taco Bell that night. If I'm going home buying Taco Bell and then I die like this, I'm going out a bitch way. I swear.
Put a lot of thought into it.
I did. No,
it just I'm just no, go.
It just fucking like all went through my head, right? And he's like, yo, why the fuck are you stopping in the middle of the road? I'm like, bro, I'm like stopping so you can go about your business and go. Like I live right here. So I'm about to pull in, but I was trying to be nice enough for you to just go about your business. He's like, well, you don't fucking have to stop for me, blah, blah, blah. I started just cussing in my face. I'm like, oh my, if he wasn't in my passenger or my driver's side door, I would have got out. Like plain and simple. Something would have happened. But the fact that he was blocking me, and like I said, I don't know if he has a gun. I don't know if he has a knife. I don't know. So he said all he had to say. He fucking got back in his car and he just fucking peeled out and went about his business. I pulled in and then I just ate my burrito. That was it. So that was like the only time where I feel like that something like that ever happened. So yeah.
That's good. You guys are, doing, I guess better than me in a way. I haven't had that happen, not trying to have it happen. I've had people take my parking space.
Oh yeah, that shit pisses me off. Like especially when you lock into the fucking parking. Like if you were locking in, like if you're locking eyes with somebody else, and you look at it.
No,
and then all of a sudden they just fucking pull in.
What did you do when they took your space? Did you tell them anything? Did you confront them?
No, so mind you, I was in the hood, and you know, I know this area. So guess what I did? I went to the next parking space, 2 spaces over, and I just walked away. And I'm a woman. He was a man, so I'm like, you know what? He was a big man. He was a right? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do the responsible thing, mature thing, and just go to Walmart and yeah, go get my stuff and keep it moving. And I have not seen that man since, or maybe I have. I just don't remember.
That's why women last longer. That's why women last longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that testosterone with y'all. What do you mean? Thank you, punch. You know, so that's how it is.
I've told people like I've went to work before. And someone took the parking spot, and there's this rule that you have where, you know, if you're in the aisle, you're waiting, you know, because you have to wait for a spot to open. So you're waiting for something to open. So I've had it where people have pulled out of the parking spot, and then it was my turn to take that spot, and someone cut in front of me and took it. So I approached him and I said, listen, all 4 of those tires are going to be flat if you don't move your car, because I was waiting here. I've been waiting for an hour. You don't move your whip, you're going to have 4 flat tires. And, you know, so, and he moved his car, you know, but I've never been afraid of confrontation. I've never been afraid of, you know, and I think a lot of it is just, that's the adrenaline kicking in, and there's absolutely no filter. I don't think about what Eddie thinks about, where if someone has a gun, someone has a knife. I don't think about that until after the fact.
Maybe a little too late, Brett. You might not be here when you think about that.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way as Eddie. Like, I literally think about a lot. And that, for me, I've never been in a real fight before because I was always afraid to lose. And somebody said, Kyndra, best way to learn how to fight is just to fight. You're not going to win every fight. And if you come across a person who said they have won every fight, don't believe them. You can't really trust that person.
Oh, I could tell you how many I've lost, so many fights. But the first fight I won in 7th grade, it was a kid named Charles, and his dad had just killed 2 people.
Oh my God.
He was actually in, like, waiting for trial. He was in jail awaiting trial. Yeah, look up the name Ken Aerosmith if you want to know that name.
Okay,
but,
so what happened with you and Charles when y'all got to duking? What happened?
Well, so it was weird. It was kind of a weird situation where my mom did not want me. I mean, it was just I was you know, it just was what it is, or was what it was. It is what it is, and whatever. You know, but so Charles had just moved up the street, and you know, at the time, the whole United States was hearing about this Ken Aerosmith double homicide going on that was in our community. Basically, it was an ex-sheriff who ended up quitting or retiring, or maybe he got fired from the sheriff's office, but then he ended up on meth. And then he found out that his 16-year-old daughter was getting held on a compound, and she was being molested by these 2 people on this compound. So she was like held a prisoner. So Ken went to this compound with 2 Tech 9s and shot both the man and the woman in the back 21 and 19 times. And so then he ended up, you know, getting taken to jail. Well, his son moved to our neighborhood. We lived in the poor part of our town, and my mom, she wanted to like be there for this kid, and so she'd have him come down to the house, and they'd be playing magic cards together. The kid was a nerd, right? I mean, and now that I'm older, I feel really horrible about all of this and how this all transpired. But at the time, I didn't have that maturity developed at that point. You know, I was 7th grade. So they're playing magic cards, and they're leaving me out of it. You know, mom's like, hey, go to your room. You know, me and Charles are playing cards. I'm like, no, that ain't happening in my house. That ain't happening in this 700 square foot 2-bedroom house. So I told Charles, I said, hey, you can't be hanging out with my mom. You gotta go. You gotta find your friends and hang out. So this 8th grader came. His name was Case, and he said, hey, Brett, today you're gonna fight Charles. And we went behind this little mini mart, and I just started punching him, and I'm like, wow, you know, I was a kid who came from child abuse, and I didn't think I could fight. I you know, here my mom was just whooping me, and I didn't, you know, I'm thinking if a woman can beat me up, and you know, there ain't no way I can fight a dude. And so then all of a sudden in 7th grade, I figured out, oh man, I can swing some things. I can make this happen. And so yeah, I that was my first fight, and it was crazy though. I mean, there were many more fights that came from there. And
that's where you got addicted to blood.
Yeah, well, I mean, but I could tell you about some fights I lost too.
There's quite.
So wait, so I was going to ask you this: are any of the fights that you've had over the years, are you guys cool now? Can you go get a drink with them, or is like it's over?
You know, a lot of people that, you know, like when we were younger, like there was this one time, let's see, I was dating this girl named April, and she ended up with dating this kid Jason. Well, I cheated on April, and April, you know, she couldn't get at me in any way, but with her new boyfriend, she's like, I'm just gonna tell Jason that you were talking a bunch of shit. So I'm with my boy, and we're smoking weed at lunch, and I'm getting my 2 burritos and Mountain Dew, and all of a sudden I get told, hey, Jason's waiting for you. You know, and so we, you know, I tell Jason right in the fight, like, Jason, I've got no beef with you. I've got no beef whatsoever. And, but it didn't matter, right? There were just too many people. They pushed us into fighting each other. So we ended up fighting. And people will say, history will record that Jason won the fight. But I'm here to tell you, it was a draw. The cops came. We jump in the same El Camino, you know, the back of those El Camino. We jump in the same El Camino, and he's bleeding from his face because I'd kicked him in the face, and I have 2 black eyes because I just let him hit me. So a few months later, though, he had broke up with April, and I did approach him, and I said, hey, I said, just so you know, I'm still sticking to my truth that I never said anything to provoke that fight. We should not have fought. And I still am saying that to today. And he understood. He says, yep, hey, it is what it is. It's all good. So we kind of just squashed our beef, but we didn't end up being friends.
Okay. Well, I mean, have you seen him since?
Well, like, after the fight, after 3 months after that,
many years later.
But then I moved to Washington and started making millions of dollars and left him in his trailer court. You know, so I don't say anything.
So that's how I won my fight.
How old were you guys the very last time you had a fight? Like the very last time you remember?
2010.
Years.
2010. I was in a bar fight.
Did you? So really, is that exciting to everything that you thought it was going to be, or you're like, I just had to get the hell out of there, or what?
The bar fight?
Yeah, the bar fight. Tell me, how, like, did you? Who did it? So it's like somebody just throws something off, so y'all just know to just throw other things.
All right. Oh, Kyndra, you got this. Let me take out the cigar. Okay, so it's 2010. I'm going through a divorce, and so I'm already living in Washington. Don't know, whatever. I'm trying to get a job, whatever. But I'm divorced, and I have to go to Montana for divorce court. So I go there, and my old crew that I ran with, they were there, and they're like, "Hey, you're in town. Let's go up to Whitefish and have some beers. Let's go to the bar." So I'm like, "All right, let's go." And so my friends, like, we were high class, low class, meaning we were driving around in this limo that somebody bought and tried to start like this little side hustle business. And, and he made some money in, creative ways that I won't say on the podcast. But so he had that image, right? He had that image. He had to, we got hauled around in a limo, and, what was the year? 2010. So the limo was probably a 95.
Those old like Lincoln ones, those like old school Lincoln ones.
Yeah, and it had the paint peeling off the top, but you couldn't see it at night, so it was all good. Your cover was good at night. Anyway, so we go to the bar, and my friend Justin and Eric, they go, I'm hanging out in the DJ booth because Eric was a DJ and his friend was DJing that night. So, so Justin and Eric, they've been gone for a minute. They've been gone for too long. And so all of a sudden I'm like, man, where are they? So I'm looking at the bar. Well, in between me and the bar, there was a table that it was a pool table, like the one that's behind me. And it had, and what they do is during the daytime, it's a table or a pool table, but at night, at the time we were at, they put a piece of plywood over the top of it and a pole in the center. So girls could jump on the pool table and dance on the pole. They had to keep their clothes on, but that's what it was.
Fun.
Whitefish, Montana, Casey's, you know it. Actually, they changed Casey's around. Now it's a legitimate restaurant, I think. But anyway, back in those days, back in 2010, it was not. So this girl was dancing on the pole, and all of a sudden I see these three guys looking at me and laughing. And, again, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of confrontation. So I just walked up to them, said, "Excuse me, gentlemen. I know you guys are laughing." I'm really drunk, by the way, like really drunk. So it's probably like, "Excuse me, guys. What's going on? Do I know you guys? Because I see you laughing, and if you think I'm somebody else, let's squash it right now. Otherwise, let's get it popping." And,
Brad, hold on, Brad, Brad, you are amazing. You are freaking amazing. Can I hire you as my bodyguard? Because you ain't afraid of nothing.
I would love to. I would love to. So security jumps in, right? They immediately notice there's a scuffle taking place, and they actually told these people, "Hey, don't mess with them anymore. Don't mess with me." And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So anyway, so I go back. And so I'm dancing all of a sudden, whatever. And all of a sudden they're with me again. And then they this time they're pushing me. There's three of them and there's only one of me.
Oh, wow.
Eric and Justin are nowhere to be found. And, it was a jump. Yeah. So what happened? So basically I told them, quit messing with me. I'm not playing. Now I know that there's beef. And, so, I pushed them, whatever. So they actually got kicked out of the bar. Well, then I'm on the dance floor with this girl who back in the day, she was part of our little group and she was a scrapper with the rest of us. And so, when shit went down, she was throwing bows just like everyone else. And I tell her, I said, "Hey, I am surrounded." And I said, "I don't want you to get in this fight, but I have to fight." And so I'm trying to protect her. And so the thing is these three guys, there's a big dude who's shorter than me, but he's like probably 75 pounds heavier. He's built like a brick house. I pushed him into the jukebox, right? I mean, that's as Montana as you can get. I pushed him into the jukebox. The guy that was taller than me, what did I do with him? Oh, he was the one I was squaring up on. And so I'm throwing, I'm punching. And then they had this little guy that was like, I called him a spider monkey because he was just small. He was like the Easy E of their group. And he's pop, like treating my face like it was a speed bag, and he's connecting every shot. And anyway, so next thing you know, I'm on the ground and I'm kicking, I'm punching. And then all of a sudden I hear, "Stop." And I look up and my boy, I see his tattoo that says Omerta, and around the guy that I pushed into the jukebox, I see him around his neck. So that guy was trying to jump on me, but my boys finally jumped in at the last minute. But when I hear "stop," I look over and it's a cop badge. And it was the cop that actually tackled me on the ground, or I don't know how it happened. All I know is the cop was down on the ground with me, and we got hauled out, and I'm up against the wall. He handcuffed me, and he's getting my story, he's getting their story, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Bro, you just cut ass?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And he goes, "Just hold on, right?"
Just randomly?
Well, I was drunk, So yeah. So then he comes back, and everybody had told the same story. So he just said, "Hey, you guys we're gonna let you all go, but you're not going back in the bar. Well, both of my boys had warrants out for their arrest, so
wow,
they're hiding. They're hiding, and I'm like, so at this point, I'm just walking down the street, like, maybe they'll show up.
Just walking,
just walking, and then all of a sudden, I hear from an alley, Brett, get in, and it was them, you know, and yeah, it was crazy. That was the last time I got in a fight.
Well, you went out with the bang.
That is how that, but that's good that you're not trying to still meet people, you know, outside of work. Cause I got a coworker who's 30 and she doesn't mind meeting people outside after work. And I'm like, bro, like, don't see your back hurt after a certain age from fighting. You know, I knew this one guy who was trying to fight the bus driver because he got crump with his son. I'm like, bro, it's a freaking bus driver, okay? His job is shit anyway. Like, why are you trying to fight him because he got crump with your son? Like, it don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. So your friend just likes to fight after work?
She just doesn't mind. Like, if you disrespect her, if you say, you know, talk to her crazy, she's like, okay, we can talk about it after work. And I'm like, bro, like, get some help, man.
Yeah.
So
like
that's essentially, and I think you nailed it right to the bottom, because, you know, that was 2010, and shortly after that, I realized, like, you know, I've got some anger in me that I've got to figure out how to address. You know, I'm suppressing it, but you can only suppress so much before the bottle blows up, right? If you don't develop those problem-solving skills, you're gonna continue that path. And it took me. I was in counseling for 7 years for anger, for all the shit that I went through. So
I'm proud of you for going to counseling, though. I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a big, you know, with your friend, if she's dealing with that kind of anger and she's carrying, that's I am so pro counseling to so many people. I think that's one thing that gets overlooked with our society. We look at mental illness and how prevalent it is, and one thing I know, counseling is not cheap, and that's why I think people, doctors, social workers, the state, they go with the cheaper route, which is we'll just medicate them instead, right? We'll just say, hey, and then, you know, and that's where drugs are a problem, because we're escaping it, and it's just easier, it's cheaper, but you're not actually developing the skills. And to develop those skills, sometimes it costs some money. Luckily, I had an employer with benefits that paid for those counseling, but I mean, I'm talking, it would have been thousands and thousands of dollars of counseling. And I really wish there was a group out there that could sell this to the American society, that we really do need to take care of our society, because I think with proper counseling and psychotherapy, you could address the drug issues, the mental illness issues, but it just costs too much. And that's why it comes down to economics.
So why do you think, like, the younger crowd, or just, like, you know, anybody really still kind of looks at it as kind of like, if you go to any type of, like, you know, therapy, is, you know,
it's taboo?
It's taboo. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is that? Why do you think?
I don't know. How is counseling viewed? Because up here, you know, in talking to my counselor, they say that in our area, in our neck of the woods, it's not seen as that. It's, in fact, when someone knows you're going to counseling, they're like, oh, okay, they're developing the skills. But how about Atlanta? How is counseling viewed down there?
Good question. I'm not too sure. Because I try to only worry about myself. I don't give a damn about these people. I'm like, hell, half of y'all don't even tell me happy birthday on the day I tell you. I tell you the day before, you don't even tell me happy birthday. Damn y'all. Back to the story.
Hey, before it's too late, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
You know what? 16 days. The countdown is on.
Oh shit! So you're a May baby. You're a May baby too.
I am. I'm going to be traveling the world, and plus I'm graduating 2 days before, so I'm getting the hell out of here.
16
graduating.
17th.
My birthday's the 17th. My graduation's May 15th. And
congrats.
I'm just taking like a world tour for like 3 weeks, and then I got to go back to work because, you know, can't spend all my money. Back to the story. But no, thank you. But no, this is how I think I think I think it also depends on the type of household you grew up in. Okay. I know in the Black community, I'm not sure about any other, ethnicity or stuff. I know in the Black community, oftentimes they want to sweep certain things underneath the rug. What goes on in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
Let's pray it away, and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, like God doesn't work like that, man. Like, and that's my issue that I have when it comes to, I have to talk to my mom about this because, like I said, she's an evangelist and she literally. A lot of stuff is let's just pray about it. Don't tell other people about it, whatever it might be. But it's like, I think counseling is very important. And you're right, because it's expensive. Nobody wants to go, or it gets to a point, I think like churches, they'll do free counseling, but only after so long. They're like, okay, you're going to pay us. And I've heard that. So I'm like, what churches? I'm like, this is the church.
Yeah,
right? This
for
is the
sure.
place that we're supposed to go to try to get the healing that's necessary. But at the same time, that type of, stuff drives people away. And so they think, oh, okay, well, I can just smoke weed and that's not going to make it better. You cannot smoke your problems away. You cannot drink your problems away. You actually have to get some help. But I think the thing, like I said, people do not care. These are the same, like the government, the same people who put the drugs in our neighborhoods for us to get strung out. And guess what ends up happening? They arrest us for taking the drugs and they gave it to us. And I was having a conversation with an officer who who's done drug busting. I'm like, but here's my question. If you know for a fact that they put this in our neighborhoods, why are you arresting these people? And again, especially like this. If you want to, when it comes to like meth and heroin and all that type of stuff, if you want to do that, if you want to ruin your life, that's on you, because we all have free will. We all know for a fact this is something we do not use, we don't do, stuff like that. I've spoken to people who did cocaine in the 80s, and I asked them, a couple of people, I said, okay, so were you addicted at some point? And said, I was. I said, well, how'd you finally break this? That I had to find deep down inside, tell myself I have to break this because I got to get a job, or I'm not gonna go broke trying to supply this habit, whatever. Sometimes people just give it to them for free. I was talking to this woman at my job, and she was telling me that she never paid for cocaine. She would always just get it at the bars, but she said she had to stop because she realized it was going to be ruining her life. So I think it's if you really want to stop something, I really feel like you can. People just make an excuse. But like I said, like if a person wants to, do heroin or cocaine or whatever, they want to ruin their lives. Like, why are you arresting that person? Why are you like the government's the biggest drug dealers I know? But I'm not going to speak too much on them because I want you guys to still have your podcast. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want them coming after y'all.
No,
I want you. No, that is exactly why we have you on here, is because this is what we value so much is perspectives outside of our own. And this, like what you talked about, talking to people, because, I can only see life through the prism that I was dealt with and through the angle. I can only see life through one angle. And the only way I'm going to get a better perspective is by listening to stories like this. And so, no, this is go as far as you want.
Yeah. This is your time to shine right here.
But no, as far as like I said, when it comes to Atlanta, here's the thing. A lot of people have moved to Atlanta, I guess, to get their dreams started. Everybody wants to be a rapper. I'm like, bro, we need farmers and shit too. Like, y'all are talented. I always say, man, the hardest conversation you have, especially in the Black community, is letting your friend know that they can't rap. It's a lot of y'all, if you're out there in Atlanta, you moved here for your rap career, you suck. I'm like, do y'all all go to the same the government meeting and say, hey, we're all gonna go here and just talk about like sound like this? Like, bro, y'all all monotone, you sound like you're speaking in cursive. Like, come on now, you suck. But no, like I said, when it comes with certain like I said, for me personally, the dating scene in Atlanta is just, I don't really care for it. It's a lot of the stuff like that for the people who have moved here, they have just, I guess, given it a bad name, and I always say, don't confuse the people from Atlanta with the people in Atlanta and stuff like that. So it's crazy. They're trying to make Buckhead its own city. I'm like, if you guys don't leave Buckhead alone, okay, just leave it alone.
Yeah, right. Well, you were talking earlier about how you don't know how it is with families outside of the Black communities as far as issues, and how that was one reason why I held so much anger in me for so long and didn't ask for help, was because it was do not bring shame on this family. Do not talk about this stuff. And it took me to finally cut ties with my family and to let my family go completely.
That's good.
Before
Proud
I
of
could
you.
finally openly talk about, hey, I was abused. In my whole life growing up, I've seen drug dealing. I've seen I had an uncle who I watched get sentenced to life in prison without chance for parole, because it was his third strike for killing somebody while he was drinking and driving. I've never met my father, and so all of that stuff, my family told me, you got to hide that. You got to, and so it's like, it's not just like your, what we would view from a normal family as, oh, dad's an alcoholic and we just have to be quiet about it. It was like everything. It was issue on top of issue that kept compounding over the years, including my own anger and my own damage that I was adding to the fray. And it just became to the point where I remember the first time I got arrested for assault as an adult. That was an eye-opener, because I said, I just beat this guy up in a hotel lobby. And thank goodness there weren't cameras at that day, because the story I told the judge was a story that the camera would have told differently. But it was still an eye-opener. And I'll tell you. So again, we're in Montana, and so what I had done is I've gotten this fight on a Friday. Saturday, the detective from the Whitefish Police Department called my house and left a voicemail saying, hey, we're looking for Brett. He's a suspect in an assault case we're working on, yada, yada, yada. Then on Sunday, they called back and said they put a warrant out for my arrest. And I'm like, man, I've never had a warrant out for my arrest, like, this is crazy. So I went to a lawyer's office and I said, listen, I don't have a lot of money, but I do have an assault rifle and some other guns I can give you as collateral. He's like, bring it on in. I'll take the case.
Just gave him guns
I gave him guns as collateral. Yeah. And then when I had the money, I paid him back and got all my guns back. And it was a different day back there, but I mean, it was a different way of life. But at the end of it, yes, we were told in our families to hide it as well. There is a shame that I think comes with when it comes to parents who, especially, this social media age where, what it looks like on all your friends' social media pages, where everybody's like, oh, look at me, I'm living my best life. Look at how good I'm raising my kids. Look at how good they're eating. Look at how good. And then, when the kids get to start telling the story, it ain't that. It don't match, and that's what we have to finally recognize, all of us, is that no matter whose story, no matter whose timeline we're looking at, we need to be real about what's going on, and we need to be real in order to heal, is how I put it.
That's a bar right there. Damn, we need to be real to heal. Is that what you said?
We need to be real in order to heal.
We found out you're a rapper. Go ahead now.
I did
open for people in Atlanta.
I did open for Sir Mix-a-Lot back in the day.
True story.
Thank you very much.
He showed me the CD that Sir Mix-a-Lot autographed for him, and the night that he tossed your demo out the window, right?
Okay,
I gave him my demo. I'm pretty sure he tossed it. Yeah, like you were talking about those Atlanta rappers coming in and their garbage. I was definitely a garbage rapper.
It's okay. At least you tried. You tried.
Straight up.
You tried.
It was fun.
Straight up. No, but you're right. I mean, and just to add to that, the social media, how they try to paint I'm just saying not everybody, but there's probably certain individuals who try to paint a certain picture that's not really real, so they can flaunt a lot of stuff, on the gram or wherever, but behind closed doors is a whole different perspective. That's why, to me, like, it's crazy to know that, like, a lot of people, like, I'm just saying a lot, from what I've, paid attention to, that they really think that everything they see is like real on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like on social media, it's like, it's wild to me to not know that, like, you would have to know a person like on a physical basis to really know what's up, So I think a lot of that shit's being taken away, which is crazy to me. I don't know, maybe just because, like I said, I grew up, 2000, 1999, forward, and then 2021, it's just a whole different game. I feel like with a lot of stuff that I'm seeing, like, it's wild, man. It's just crazy.
if people are allowing, like, for example, Tekashi 6ix9ine, ain't no way what he did would have flew in the 90s. You don't do that. Nah. Like, these parents want to be their kid's best friend. Like, I remember there was a time where when the adults came over, the children went to their rooms. Now you got adults and kids in the same room. I'm like, bro, I don't feel comfortable doing whatever or saying whatever. And we got kids in the room. What if I want to get my freak on? Like, I want to do this in front of adults. I can't do this in front of a child. Like, but their parents that they don't care, man. Yeah. And it's just sad. Like, we live in a generation now where grandmothers take care of their grandchildren and the mothers take care of their boyfriends. Do you notice that?
Oh, that's crazy. You just said, oh, wow. I swear, like, like, I feel like you're just like reading or projecting what I'm thinking in my mind out into the fucking, like, just projecting it on the wall. That's what's crazy. I think about that same shit too. That's crazy.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
Man, that's wild. That's some true shit though. You fucking hit a nail on the head with that one. High five.
Yeah, that's
high five.
But I mean, you see it, and here's the thing: as a comedian, you have to. Comedians are wired; they're built differently. You are built differently. You view the world differently than normal people. I want to say normal people, in the sense that in order to make something funny, you have to talk about a real situation. But how are you anybody can talk about a real situation, but how do you make it funny? So not only do you have to be observant to what's really going on, but also you have to understand people in a way that, hey, they're going to find it funny if I say it like this. Just like what you just said earlier, where you talk about the grandchildren raising, or the grandparents raising the grandchildren, was the girlfriend raising the boyfriend or whatever. I mean, that's comedic value right there, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's crazy how that is. So with your comedian, with what do you aim to do? I was watching your post and you were talking about some other topics that I want to hopefully we'll have time to, and I don't know how.
I was gonna say we don't have time now. Bring me back on for a part 2 next week. I'm good.
Okay. Good.
You can always do a part 2.
Okay. So what are your goals then with your podcast, and with what with you as a person? What do you want to do in life? What is the mark you're trying to make?
Okay, so prior to this question you just asked me, I do want to answer the question about how do I find it funny. Let me just say this. I don't think before I speak. My mama taught me to do that and I didn't listen to her, okay? I just say whatever comes to my mind. That's the answer to that question. Now, as far as my goals, my dream is to have my own radio and television show. Okay, that's my dream. My dream is to have my own radio and television show. You guys are definitely invited. You guys can come on and everything else. I will fly you out, have you in a nice hotel, but you still need to make sure that you bring some bed bug spray, because Esmeralda and Maria, they be tripping. 5-star hotels, you can't always trust it now. You can't always trust it. Well, I got a joke for you. If your heart is ever broken, take it to a Mexican. They'll fix anything. All right. But yeah, so my goal to be an author, similar to Steve Harvey. So I'm trying to just be successful in life. That way I can get out of my Section 8 neighborhood and buy my mama Minx fur coats.
Yeah. Take care of Mama Dukes.
Condo paid for, no car payments.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to do. That's the goal.
That's what's up. So you were talking about just a quick question that I wanted to ask you when you were talking about you graduating. Where are some of the places that you want to travel to?
It doesn't matter. I've been to 17 states so far. So I'm out there just trying to just go see God's glory. It does not matter. I can go to places where anywhere. Like I went to Colorado a couple of years ago, and I had so many different Black people say, "Kyndra, there are no Black folks out here. What are you doing in Colorado?" I said, "How do you know that there aren't Black? I have to be where Black people are." That's like, this type of stuff is just like, I think a slave mentality, like mindset. Like, why can't I go bear hunting or duck hunting? Why is it that, oh, that's a white activity? What does that mean? Like, bro, what's that have to mean anything? Again, I think what they're trying to say is because we still live in a racial type of, world. There are places I know for a fact in Georgia, there are places in North Carolina I can't be by myself, and that's sad to me. But I still go, I still try to go. I don't mind going to Montana. I don't mind going to Oregon. I don't mind going to Wyoming. Okay, just to say, hey, I went. That there's nothing wrong with that, There's nothing wrong with that.
So I grew up in Montana, and here's the beauty of my situation. I came in as an outsider, right? Originally we lived in Idaho, and so when you went to, it used to be, it's probably changed now because a lot of people have moved there, but at that time in 96, we moved over there, and if you were not from Montana, they viewed you as an outsider. They thought you were going to be too progressive. They thought you were going to raise taxes. They thought you were going to change their way of life. There was just a lot of fear, right? No matter what color you were. And I mean, we were white, and we had our dog shot because he was chasing the deer in the we lived out in the country. But the one thing I always, because I was an outsider, I recognized how outsiders were treated. And so then as I saw other outsiders come in, move to Montana to live there, when I had girlfriends who would date black guys. And so, being that I was rapping back in those days, the black guys were often
wait.
right?
What was your rap name? What was your rap name?
My middle name, it was Amicy. A to the M-I, S to the Wiz-I. Not guilty. Y'all got to feel me.
All right, so I see Jay-Z got that from you. Got it.
No. I took that from Hova, and I used that beat. Yes. Thank you for recognizing that. That was good. But anyway, so when I had my black friends come out from, into Montana, one thing I absolutely loved, this is where I found peace on earth, was hiking. I loved going out in the mountains, that fresh air, the animals. And one thing I always thought was so funny about my black friends is they'd be like, "No, I ain't going out in the woods. There are too many animals that will kill me," And I'm like, no. They are more afraid of you than you are of them. I promise you. I go out there all the time, and most of the time I'm unarmed because I know that ain't no wolves, ain't no cougars, ain't no deer's gonna mess with you. Maybe Sasquatch, but that's on another level. But that's one thing that I've always wanted to see, is barriers being broken. Those things that's a white activity, that's a black activity. If a white person, like I just saw recently, Justin Bieber is getting flamed for growing dreads, and they call that cultural appropriation. Here's the thing. This country is supposed to be a melting pot of ideas and of cultures and of races. And why can't someone grow dreads who is white?
I'll tell you why.
Okay, tell me why.
So I believe the reason being is because we have been made fun of, for having dreads. Like, we have been made fun of for our big lips. We've been made fun of for whatever. So the same people who are making fun of us are now copying our style. So it seems like, okay, that's our thing. Like, we try to make it our thing. So we feel that, and when I say we, I'm talking about like for some black people, not everybody. But I guess they feel that, all right, this is our thing. You guys stole America from us. You all, stole this from us. You did this, you did that. We want to have this, and it looks better on us than it does on you all. That's how they're thinking. So, that's pretty much, or they'll say, well, how, because their hair is so slick, how are they able to, get dreads and stuff like that? So those are a few, answers that I could possibly come up with.
But I guess it's odd to me, because the people that, and I'm not knocking anything. I mean, this is why I find the value of doing a podcast like this, is where we can open up this type of a conversation, because I just had this conversation with another. I'm helping one of my buddies from work move out of his area. He happens to be black, and we were having the same conversation, and he has the idea where it's not a big deal. and you know, and that where we just fight over anything and everything. Now, so what I'm hearing though is that it's almost like a white person growing dreads is on the same level as a white person who wants to put on a what do you call it, a headdress, a Native American headdress. You know, that's my culture, don't take it from us. And I I want us all to be able to be happy together. I know that if I went to the Philippines, I could grow my dreads out. You know, if I decided to have dreads, I could grow dreads out with no issue whatsoever. And I'm still the same person that I am, and I don't look down upon anybody. But if I come to America, the rules are just different. And that's the stuff. You know, you talk about racial stuff. I know that the Black community in specific has a long history of not only being overlooked, but also targeted. There's a reason why we have our a prison system that has 25% of the world's population, and I don't know what the percentage is that's Hispanic and African American, but it's a large percentage. And here we are, and we're the nation of the free, you know, and we're all about freedom, and yet we incarcerate 25% of the world's population, and most of them are Black and Hispanic. That's the stuff that needs to change. And what we're starting to see with police, I'm pro police all the way, except for I do agree that since at least the 90s that I've seen in America in general, not in the Black community. The Black community could go way further than the early 90s. But from what I've seen is in the early 90s is when they became more militarized, where they started wearing more bulletproof vests. They started carrying AR-15s. And I'm like, this is crazy, you know, and I've been tackled by police before. And I'm like, this is extreme. This is extreme. So even though I'm pro police, I'm not pro militarized police. I'm the police I like are the police that are coming into the community. Everybody made fun of Dare, but I loved it when we had the Dare officer come into our school with the Dare. They had their own police car with their own lights and everything, and they connected with people. You felt like you could trust your local police. We don't have that today. We don't.
You don't.
And I think that it's more pronounced in the Black communities. And that's, I don't know where you're at with the Derek Chauvin case, but that was a huge landmark case for especially people who have been targeted. I mean, we've seen so many situations. Who was the guy in Milwaukee? He was the janitor. I mean, he was just pulled over and just shot instantly.
Yeah. He was I think he was a chef, like a cook or something like that for the cafeteria at a school.
I forget his name.
Yeah. And he was pulling out his driver's license or something and got shot because he thought he was going for a weapon or something like that.
Right. And
it's
it's
some
just
fuck shit, man. Yeah,
so I mean, this is where, you know, it's so weird having this conversation or living in this day where, you know, where we see all this stuff happening. Like where does a person believe? And I think that it goes on all angles. Like, you know, picture if you were a cop and you had all these people targeting you, all of, you know, and here you are, you're fresh out of college. You're like, yeah, I want to make a difference in my community. But then all of a sudden you, just by being a police officer, become a target of people that want to kill you. And, you know, there are so many good cops. I had a friend who died in the line of duty. He was actually killed by a distracted driver, and he was killed head on, instant. But I remember when he first became a cop, he was so excited about his new job, about his new career. And at his funeral, the governor at the time came to the funeral, spoke at his funeral, and it was cool to see, you know, like all the big wigs, right? But also people that he had to arrest also came to his funeral and spoke. And there was this one lady that said, he pulled me over for drinking and driving, and he wasn't rude, he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't demeaning. He told me, he educated me what I was doing, who I could harm, who I could hurt by my actions. That's the type of police that I see. And he was the absolute model of what I saw. And I also saw him, you know, I mean, I saw him go right for his gun because he didn't know it was me, but I drove up behind him and he went right for his gun because they don't know what the target is. So I think that I don't know what the goal, I think if it was as easy as me being able to say what the solution is, we wouldn't have the issue. I think that the issue has been layer upon layer, year after year, believe, you know, and, you know, white people or conservatives maybe have a different view than people in the inner cities have.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is I want us to find that common ground to where my kids have that same amount of confidence that they're going to come home, even if they're pulled over, that your kids are going to have. You know, that's what the idea of America means to me, is that there's no one is going to no one is going to have to feel like they are afraid to just pull over because they have an air freshener in their car, or if they get out of their car and they're holding a cell phone or whatever. You know, we've just seen so many of these issues, and me, as hard as this is to talk about, I feel like that is sort of our role in this life, is to force the conversation to anyone. And it's so nice to have someone that we can talk to about that offers a perspective that I will never have. I can listen and I can tell you what I see, and then we can come to the table and say, okay, how are we going to do this?
For sure. And I know it's probably like a topic that we can go on, you know, and I definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can bring me back for a part. Yeah. So there are certain questions that you, like Brett, have about, you know, when it comes with Black people or so. You can definitely ask. If y'all want to ask me whatever, like, how do I feel when I come across a white person saying the N-word but not calling me that? You can ask me these type of questions and I can give you, how do I feel about snitching? Like, whatever it might be. Like, if you can want to bring me back for a part 2, you know, real soon, you can do that. If you have questions that you want to ask, like, I'm up for it. Like, I can be that person, that voice. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And also we've brought it up before, I think 2 episodes ago, but at the time, I just felt like it wasn't appropriate because, for one, like, you know, on the podcast itself, we like to just go different topics. You know, we really, there'll be times where we do have, like, in our minds, okay, we're going to talk about this and that. But for something like this, at this magnitude, where it is a serious, I feel like it is an issue in America. We definitely want to have it where it's a special, like, it's actually a dedicated episode focused on that. See what I'm saying? So I think in the future, definitely we should definitely link up again and talk about stuff like that and have the conversation out there. Because I think it's if it's anything we can do as the Tiptech podcast itself, it's just have the conversation for people to listen to and just get multiple perspectives on kind of where we're at with that subject, you know? So yeah, for sure. Most definitely.
That works.
Yeah. I mean, Brett, what do you think, bro? Should we fucking cut it loose, or what do you think? I mean, we don't want to take too much of Kyndra's time.
Y'all know I'm like 5 hours ahead of y'all. It's past my bedtime.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. Okay. Well, thank you again for being a guest, and we appreciate you for coming on. Definitely go give us your socials where they can follow you and check you out and all that. Let the people know.
All right. Instagram is the Kyndra Crump Show. The KYNDRACRUMP. If you don't know how to spell show, go back to elementary school. Yeah, you got left behind, and no child act left behind. My own podcast is the Kyndra Crump Show. Same as my Instagram. My YouTube is Kyndra Crump. Make sure anybody out there, if you're listening on the sound, you know, this is my voice, don't be that weirdo to sit here like about 5-10 of my posts and don't even hit follow. Don't do that, okay? I hope your credit score starts on back over at -500.
Let's go. And we'll definitely plug you up in the description once this episode drops on YouTube, so we can direct just anybody from our platform over to you, you know? So definitely. But again, thank you for watching. This is another episode of a brand new episode of Tipsy Podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.